Hello and welcome here to Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys, for another video. And once again today we are going to be taking a look at that Valencia versus Barcelona game in a bit more detail, because obviously aside from that one moment, which of course decided the game, to be honest, of injustice, the goal that wasn't given, that is going to be my number one point. But I have got 4 more points to bring you guys on maybe how the game could have changed in a bit more detail. There was a few moments in there which I think were real game-changing moments. If things could have gone a different way, it could have impacted the result massively, and maybe we could have come away with all 3 points. I think given our performance in the first half, we possibly deserved that. We really did. We played well, we controlled the game, we deserved to take the lead. It didn't happen, and to be fair, I think the players do deserve some credit, for getting their heads back in the game following those very difficult circumstances in the first half. But in that second half in particular, I think the players could have done a bit more, and I think Iniesta, Valverde, there was a few things which I'm going to highlight in this coming video that really could have affected the game. And could we be asking ourselves, could we have done more? But obviously, to start, like I say, I am going to talk about that goal, and not only the goal itself, the fact that we should have taken the lead, that then when we took the lead, maybe we could have been a bit more in control. We wouldn't have had to chase the game. We could have let Valencia come on to us and then pick them off. We've got the quality of player to do that. But not only that, it's the psychological effect on both sides. Not only Barcelona, because interviews after the game with Busquets, with Alba, Valverde as well came out and spoke about the goal that wasn't given. They all went in at half-time and they openly admitted they saw it on monitors, they saw it with their own eyes, that it was the wrong decision. They knew when they went in, they knew it at the time. Jordi Alba said he was standing on the halfway line and he could see from there it was clearly a goal. Everybody in the Valencia shirt stopped, they expected a goal to be given. Even the people in the stands, the fans of Valencia, they were silent. They knew they'd conceded that goal, and everybody seemed to realise, except the officials, who made the call not to give it, and it was a massive injustice. But what that did with Valencia was even bigger. It made them believe, it made them really sort of fire themselves up. The fans were in louder voice than ever, because that was the luck they needed. It changed the game on that moment on both sides. Zaza went straight up the other end, Valencia nearly scored straight away, and that would have changed the game massively. And I think Valencia, going in at half-time, they would have saw that it was the wrong decision, and they would have thought, this is the break that we wanted. This is what we needed to get our head in the game. And certainly in that second half, they came out a completely different side. They came onto us, they were playing an attacking brand of football, they were pegging us back, and they were really impressive. Their fans were in full voice, and it all changed really on that one big moment of misjudgment from the officials, which changed the game completely. But aside from that moment, I do believe there was some other points in that second half which really could have changed the game for the better in our opinion. We could have gone on and maybe won the game if certain things had come into play. And the second thing that I want to discuss in this video is Nelson Semedo. It was quite clear right from the opening of the second half that he was struggling. He misplaced a pass, and once he'd done that, his confidence seemed to crumble. It really did. He seemed like he was on his own, he seemed like he was exposed, and the thing is, Valencia knew that. They were targeting him down the left. They got Guedes, who's very quick. Gaia was overlapping, and both of them worked together, and they worked really well in targeting that area. But the problem was, for me, obviously Semedo was struggling. He didn't cover himself in glory, but you've got to be asking the questions of his teammates, particularly somebody like Rakitic, who's usually very close to him, likes to cover for him, can help in those 2-on-1 situations. There was no support whatsoever from Rakitic on that goal, and you can see it here. And the thing that I would ask is, we conceded the goal on the 60th minute mark. Could Valverde have done more? On 60 minutes traditionally, coaches usually make their first sub of the game. Could he have acted 8 minutes quicker, maybe brought off Rakitic, brought somebody else on to help with that? Could he have maybe changed things? Rakitic maybe was a bit tired, he wasn't having his best game, he's low on confidence as well. Could we have changed things to prevent what happened? Could we have given Semedo a bit more support? Possibly so. Even if you bring on somebody like Delafield, even if we'd have brought on Alex Vidal, who was just going to play in front of Semedo, it really could have worked. That's the most important thing. Semedo was crying out for help. We did nothing and conceded because of it. And the third thing I would highlight as well would sort of revolve around that change with Rakitic. Rakitic was brought off with about 68 minutes gone. On came in his place Delafield. I think Delafield came on, and to be honest, he was awful. The first 5 or 10 minutes, it looked like somebody who was actually not warmed up to play. He looked like he wasn't ready to come on this kind of game. His touch was off, his passing was poor, he was making bad decisions, and I think maybe if Denis Suarez had come on 5 or 6 minutes earlier, it could have really changed the game, simply because I would have loved to have seen Iniesta and Denis Suarez on the pitch together, because I think both of them together could have really unlocked Valencia. We were definitely on the offensive, we had a lot more of the ball, particularly when they conceded. Valencia went and sat back again, which makes me believe if Denis Suarez and Iniesta they were on the pitch together, two very creative players, two players who are very comfortable on the ball, could we have done more? Instead, Delafield came on, he was a bit clumsy, our attacks broke down and he didn't really have the impact that we wanted. Maybe if you'd have brought Iniesta and Suarez together for those 5 or 6 minutes, we could have really, asserted ourselves and created a bit of dominance in Valencia's half. And I would also have a bit of complaint as well. That's my fourth point with the Iniesta substitution. He came off after 72 minutes, nearly 20 minutes before the end of the game. Valverde elected to take Iniesta off, and in his place, he brought on Suarez. So they didn't get to play together. Iniesta came off, and when you take off a player of Iniesta's caliber, he might be aging, but it's still a massive blow. In any game where we want a goal, we want him on the pitch because he can give you something, control, he can give you leadership, he's calm. In the high-pressured situations, that's the kind of guy you want on the pitch. And I just wonder, could we have planned better for that? Could Valverde have done a bit more planning? Against Juventus in the week, Iniesta played 82 minutes. Did he really need to play all that much of that game, considering it was 0-0, we were going to top the group anyway, it wasn't as important as this game? I think Iniesta should have been given less time against Juventus and more time against Valencia. We needed him last night, particularly in those last 15 minutes. We were going on to Valencia, we needed somebody calm, somebody composed to pick that final pass, and we didn't have it. Iniesta went off, and I definitely think if he'd have been given just a bit more time on the pitch, we would have definitely had a better chance for it. And my final point would once again revolve around the changes of Valverde, and I have to say, so far this season, Ernesto Valverde, in his changes that he makes, is usually very, very astute. That's one thing that you can say about him so far this season. Number one, the changes that he makes come on, they have an impact, and he makes them at good times too. So far this season, he's been really, really impressive, and that's why I was so surprised, really, that yesterday his impact with his changes didn't really have the desired effect, and it really didn't do enough in terms of the players that he brought on. And the final thing that I would really highlight would be Luis Suarez. Did he deserve really to stay on the pitch? Should he have been out there for the full 90 minutes? We had Paco Alcácer on the bench, and it's not just Paco Alcácer coming on, he's played a part recently in terms of goal scoring and goal creating as well. Could he have had an impact coming off the bench against his former side, remember? Coming on against a hostile atmosphere, he got a point to prove, he could have really come on and maybe had an impact, and I just think maybe we could have taken Suarez off. Valverde needs to have a very, very big character to do that, but we saw him against Juventus in midweek, leave Messi on the bench. Clearly, he has the character to do it if he wants to, and I just think last night, the way that Suarez was going, as the game went on, Suarez is getting worse. There was no sign of him getting any better whatsoever, and I just think Valverde had the power there to maybe take him off, bring Paco on, give us something a bit extra. Instead, he went for Alex Vidal for Semedo, which didn't give us anything. It made absolutely no impact in the game. Obviously, Semedo was struggling, but at that point, Valencia were just sitting back. They were happy to park the bus, they were happy to sit deep, and it just didn't help us whatsoever. That change with Semedo did absolutely nothing, and I just think Paco coming on could have really given us something different. It could have given us a different dimension, and Luis Suarez, all he was doing was being caught offside and breaking down our attacks and breaking down our momentum, and sadly enough, it really didn't end well for him yesterday. He didn't have the impact, he didn't have that confidence, he looked slow and he looked laboured, and I just think Paco could have had an impact. But obviously, guys, it is a game that is going to be difficult. The Mestalla is a tough atmosphere, it's a tough team to play against. At the end of the day, like I said in my review video, I'll take a point given the circumstances. Even with all those points considered, the main one is number one. If we get that goal in the first half, the whole atmosphere changes, the whole momentum changes, we've got the control, we've got the lead, and I think we would have gone on to win the game. We'll never know. Sadly, we can't appeal. Sadly, we can't do anything to change that now. It is what it is. La Liga don't have the technology, and unfortunately, until they do, they can't be considered the best league. They've got some fantastic teams who play fantastic football, but the officials and the top dogs in that league are not doing enough. They're not doing enough to get the league regulated in the right way, and unfortunately last night we saw yet more evidence that La Liga is not up to standard in terms of officiating and in terms of technology in the league to make the right decisions. But as always, guys, I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Let me know your opinions down below on what changed yesterday. What are those big moments in the game that you thought maybe that would impact the result? Maybe we could have done a bit more. Let me know your thoughts down below, guys. I always appreciate your thoughts down below, guys. I really do appreciate everything in the comments. You do often give some very, very structured points indeed. So let me know those down below. I will see you very, very soon with more videos. If you do have any ideas as well about possible videos that you would like to see in the future, we've got a Copa del Rey game now in midweek, and we've got Celta Vigo next weekend in La Liga. So those are the two next games. I'm going to have previews and reviews and everything coming up for those two, of course. But if there's anything else you want to see in the meantime, just let me know down in the comments below, and I will see what I can do. I will see you very, very shortly indeed. Thanks for watching as always. I'll see you soon. Vesca el Barça! 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 Barça!